Okay, now we're going to work on a different method of simplifying these complex rationals. This is method 2, and actually this is kind of my personal favorite one. And what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all of these, fraction, 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 all in one step. Now, before we can do that, we need to identify what is the common denominator for everything, every single fraction. So we have a denominator here of x minus 4, one of x minus 2. This is a 1 and an x minus 4. So between all of those, our common denominator would be x minus 4 times x minus 2. Alright, now in order to go ahead and to simplify this, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply every single term by that common denominator. So that'll take me just a minute to write it out. But I'm multiplying all 4 of these terms, 2 on top and 2 on bottom, by the common denominator, x minus 4 times x minus 2. Now by doing that, we're going to take this one term at a time. So looking at just this first term in the numerator, our x minus 4's will cancel because we have one on top and one on bottom. So now we're left with x minus 2 times x minus 1. So I'm going to write that out. Oops. Times x minus 1. Minus. Now let's look at the next term. We have an x minus 2 that will cancel top and bottom. So we're left with x times x minus 4. Now let's look at the denominator. For the denominator here, nothing cancels with this first term. So we would have just x minus 4 times x minus 2. Minus. But in our last term here, the x minus 4's will cancel. So we have minus 3 times x minus 2. Now we still have a big fraction here, but at least we don't have a complex rational expression. And at this point now we can start distributing. So let's distribute here, which will give us, let's see, x squared minus x minus 2x plus 2. And then let's distribute out our negative x, so that will be minus x squared plus 4x all over. We're going to do the same thing on the denominator. Multiplying everything out, we're going to get x squared minus 2x. Then distributing the negative 4, we get minus 4x plus 8. And now we distribute our negative 3, so minus 3x plus 6. All right. Now we can start cleaning things up, collecting like terms. So here in our numerator, our x squareds cancel because we had one positive and one negative. For our x terms, we have minus 1, minus 2 would be minus 3, plus 4 would be a positive 1x. So now those are gone, and then we have plus 2. In the denominator, we have an x squared, which won't combine with anything. For our x's, we have minus 2 minus 4, which would be minus 6. Minus 3 would be minus 9x's. And plus 8 plus 6 would be plus 14. Now, always in working with fractions, doesn't matter whether they're, have variables in them or just plain numbers, our last step is always to see if we can simplify or if we can reduce anything down. And the only way that we can see that is if everything is fully factored. So our numerator, x plus 2, is fully factored, but our denominator, that trinomial, will probably factor some down. And in fact, in this case, it will factor into x minus 7, x minus 2. Now nothing will cancel top and bottom. We don't have the exact same terms. So actually this is our final answer. Sometimes we'll be able to simplify, sometimes we won't. But you have to factor fully to see.